Don't look under the internet.
Which is that old lady's apartment.
And now your new basement.
She still hasn't left, and I don't understand why.
You have to evict her. Legally, you can. It's your basement.
It's my basement.
Yeah.
Who, fucking Gemini told me that.
Yeah.
So technically you own airspace right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm rich.
You're a landlord. The Borghese or whatever it's called. That
Oh,
people-
bourgeoisie.
Oh,
The bourgeoisie.
The Borghese.
I don't know words.
The gay Borgs.
Well, Patrick Stewart was a Borg at one point.
He was.
Wait, is he? No, it's Sir Ian McKellen that's gay.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
I got it
no,
mixed
but
up.
Patrick Stewart
I
was a Borg,
close. Yes, he was a Borg. I was close.
but
Whatever.
not gay.
You guys remember Beetleborgs?
Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Fucking-
And the
I-
villain was John, was the talk show host. No, the talk show host, Leto. Jared Leto. No, Jared Leto. Jay Leno.
Jay Leno.
That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
can tell because they accentuated his chin like a fucking monster.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to Don't Look Under the
Yeah,
Internet. The
Welcome back.
show
Holy
where we're starting it off and we're already pretty toasty. So
Yes. Well, if you guys remember from the last episode, we were far too excited to leave this for a week, so here we are.
Yes.
Also, we just wanted an excuse to play board games next week. So.
yes, this is Monument Mythos Part 2.
Season 2, you fucking
And since we're
Brussels
since
sprouts.
both of those.
we're recording this at the same time as Part 1, I would just like to say the same thing Doug said last time we did a Part 2.
Oh, what did I say?
We're recording this in the same night, so if you are a new patron or if you
Sorry.
put a new voicemail out there that you want us to put onto the
We're
show,
so sorry.
it's not going to be on this one, unfortunately, because we haven't gotten your notification yet. It will be on the next one, but we're thinking of you anyway. We love you. Anyway, should we just dump right into fucking Part 2 of the Monument
Is there
Mythos?
no housekeeping for this one?
No?
Technically, no, because what's been a week for the listener
has been 5 minutes for us.
yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, well, fuck it. Let's
Um,
dump into...
Where did we leave off last? Doug, do you want to give a
So-
fresh refresher?
The last thing we talked about was my my video called Freedom Faller. So I don't know how to recap all of this for you, so I'm not going to. But that being said, Freedom Faller, the last episode that we end season 1 on, is about the freedom statue that apparently is living.
Yes.
Do you want to give it like a brief, just kind of recap of the concepts we've touched on?
Sure.
Cool. The monuments in the U.S. house some dark secrets,
Yes.
possibly living secrets. Air Force One has been seen dropping packages off to these monumental locations.
Interesting.
Some weird creature in the airplane.
And also, the last name Arnoldson is very important.
Yes.
Oh,
Very great notes.
And,
Thank you.
And trees.
Cliff Notes.
Trees are good too.
You can buy the Cliff Notes at any store for about $2.99.
Yep.
There you go.
Just go to Meijer, walk up to the incontinence shelf, and it's sitting right there next to the fucking
Depends.
Viagra.
Go up to the CVS.
Viagra and Depends,
Yeah.
yes.
Go up to the CVS and be
Good
like,
night.
I want to know about my prescription. They'll be like, all right, here it is.
Can you do that voice again?
Oh, it's me,
What's your name?
Grubba.
Grubba?
It's a Game Grumps thing. Nothing I do
wait.
is original. It's Grubba.
This would be
from
a
Paper
perfect
Mario.
time for you to TMZ the one I told you to do.
Oh,
you
shit. I don't
bitch.
remember off the top of my head. So hold, please, as I get the scoop ready.
Yeah.
Can you
Hold
cue
for this
elevator
improv-
music?
I'll look for it. I think I have some from that fucking music pack we bought.
Wait, where is it? All right, I got it. Ready, everybody?
Oh, fuck.
Oh.
Breaking news, TMZ.
Fuck off, Mike. End of news.
So TMZ is reporting that Chad Kroeger from Nickelback loves appearing in nativity plays. Okay? He's been a shepherd,
Come on.
an innkeeper, and he's even played the back end of a donkey. But he never made it as a wise man.
Never made it as a wise man.
Never made it as a poor man something. Oh,
That's all I got.
Whenever I heard him say, I always thought he said never made it as a black man. I was like, well, yeah, you're not.
You're in America.
Yeah.
Of course you won't.
Well, also he's white. That's what I was.
Yes, he
going
is, and he has ramen noodles for hair.
He do. Never made it as a wise man.
Look at this graph.
Anyway, so we're gonna start off part 2 of the Monument Mythos with the first episode. There are, I believe, 8 episodes in season 2?
I think so.
8,
Yeah.
yes, 8
numbers.
They are quite a bit longer than season 1's. So if you're gonna watch this, like we recommend, hunker down. The first one is Maze Movie Maker, and that's Maze spelled M-A-I-Z-E, like the corn. We get an intro card that says, basically, popcorn computers are the latest in personal computers made by a company called Maze. Popcorn, I'm assuming, is to Maze as Macintosh computers is to Apple.
I think so, because I would posit that you can make popcorn from maize.
Yes. We get a view of some maize manufacturing plants popping up between the years 1960 and 1971. And if you look at the shape, it kind of makes like a squiggly line, kind of looking like a snake, sort of, going up and down, like a wavelength, sort of. Soon after we get this, an alert that comes up that all personal computers are to be recalled, and that there have been outbreaks. And that your Fourth Amendment rights do not apply here. Okay.
Hey, Mike, do you have the Fourth Amendment on you?
You know real what? Quick. I sure do.
For all these God-given Americans
I am not at all looking up what the Fourth Amendment is. Let's just go to Google just for no reason.
Just to see what they got going on
there. The right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause supported by oath of affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized.
Thank you so much
for
that.
So it's basically just saying, come and get my guns, Biden!
Fucking dare you.
I dare you, Biden, come get my guns!
Damn it, Brandon.
God damn it.
Let's go, Brandon.
The dumbest. Just...
Who's
I'll say it out loud. Fuck you, Joe Biden. Like, just go fuck yourself.
There's that
Simpsons, a really funny
the Simpsons one.
No, it was just a video. Like the guy's like, he's like, you don't have to like hide what you mean. He's like, you can just say "fuck you, Biden." Like,
yeah.
He's like, I'd rather you do that because like,
fuck Biden.
Are we 8?
Yeah,
8 years old.
There's that
it's
gif.
Ridiculous.
There's that gif from The Simpsons where Milhouse's dad is living on his own, and he's like, "I got a car bed. How do you sleep at night?" And Homer's like, "I sleep in a normal bed with my wife." And then someone cut it up, and it's like, "I say, let's go, Brandon. What do you do?" And he's like, "I say, fuck Joe Biden like a normal person."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just fucking say that. Most of us will agree with you.
Anyway, your Fourth Amendment rights. We're not getting political. This is Diluti, not Polluti. Political. Look under the internet.
Don't look under the dilute.
Don't look under the politics.
Wait, are we pooty?
We're pooty.
Pooty. Politics under the internet.
After you get this like title card that says your Fourth Amendment rights do not apply, we see that President Dean has founded the Department of Technology.
Yes, President
Way
Dean.
to go, Dean.
He's back.
By 1970, Maze develops the first personal video camera and home computer. In 1972, Maze partnered with the Department of Defense to create the first system to control the TFMDs, which is the true force of mass destruction, which is labeled as Project Horned Serpent.
Horned Serpent.
Now,
I got a horned serpent for you.
Now, the Lemurians.
Right as this pops up, the Lemurians, they come into play here with Atlanta. Atlantis, not Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Georgia.
The Atlantan Lemurians.
Yeah. But as soon as you see Project Horned Serpent, an image pops up of a giant serpent on a map of the United States. And the serpent is in the same place as where the manufacturing plants are, where Maze's manufacturing plants are in the United States. So that weird like sound wave image that I was telling you about,
yeah.
It's Project Horned Serpent. It's the serpent. The serpent is where all of the manufacturer plants are.
God.
Yep.
So I just watched the movie Shang-Chi, which most people would pronounce Shang-Chi, but if you fucking watch the movie, his name is Shang, and then he changes it to Sean.
You got very aggressive on that one.
I did, because I thought people might misunderstand, and I don't want that to happen.
Okay.
But there was a horned serpent in that movie, and it definitely made air squiggles. And I'd like to just validate your claims about the air squiggly serpents.
Thanks, man.
Continue, Mike.
Man, you're really giving valid details on this episode, aren't you?
I try, man.
Anyway, in 1980, Maze is attacked, and we get an image of what attacked him, and it looks like these giant, spiky, electric tentacles. Mm-hmm. In 1990, the last personal computer was destroyed on live TV, and like the president's there doing it and shit. Like it's a picture of the president and like all these people around the last computer, and the computer says like "tally ho" on it.
So I have a quick question for you that will not leave my brain.
Great.
If Cthulhu and Thor were to perform the fusion dance, would their name be Cthunder?
I hope so. I don't know why. It would be more like Cthor.
It'd be Cthunder.
Cthunder. Cthor, the god of Cthunder.
Yes, Cthor. Cthor, the god of Cthunder.
So by the year 2000, Maze creates the Maze Movie Maker. And then we are next shown a maze factory in real time. Like these aren't like title shot sequences or anything. It's someone with a camera going up to a maze factory, and it's got graffiti all over it that says, "Beware the monuments, they are all connected." Very ominous.
Little breadcrumbs.
Yes, we see the inside of the factory, and it's just a giant cave system. The person with the camera says that the air feels charged. The person then hears...
Cthunder is here.
Cthunder is here. The person then hears like something like rumbling around him, and they get zapped by the air, and the camera just goes completely dark.
They get zapped by the air?
Yeah, you see like a lightning shock hit him in the finger. Oh. And then it goes completely dark. Yeah, very weird. Like he puts his finger out like E.T. and he just gets zapped. Yeah.
Do you think they sent him home?
Maybe. Maybe in this instance.
Comp.
Yeah. The last thing we see is like some sort of weird like tendrilled creature like on top of the factory. I think it's very hard to tell. It's like a 2-second image, and it's in like black and white, so you can't really tell exactly what it looks like.
Okay.
And then there's a closing title card that says, "Do not visit these sites. They have not been fed in years."
Air Force One needs to get on their shit.
And if you read the description to this, the Maze Movie Maker episode, it says that a bunch of film and pictures of President Dean have been altered to protect him and to protect international
Did they show a picture of what he looks like? Okay, no. So if you guys remember in the last episode, we talked about a video called The Dean Democracy. There's a whole bunch of stuff about like the ADA, the Anti-Dean Association, and they basically made these videos where they altered his image to look like the devil. Yeah. I just wasn't sure if that was pertinent to what you were talking about here.
It entirely could be. It doesn't go into any information. It just says, "Did you know that several photographs of President Dean have been manipulated to protect legitimate national security interests?"
Oh, yeah, that does not sound like it has anything to do with that.
It also says, "Visit our Twitter account for more facts," with a little emoji of a corn. Because
maze.
Yeah. And you will find that in just about all of these descriptions in Season 2. You'll find a little piece of corn.
See, so I remember talking about very recently that if you were to do deep dives on topics such as these, you should not use like corn. An app. You should not use corn to look up this information, but nor should you use like an app on your TV. And then I went ahead and solely dedicated my time to watching all of these videos on an app on my TV.
Yep.
So I am not familiar with the descriptions, and I apologize deeply for that.
Yeah, I in the intermittent in between this episode and the last episode, I was actually saying how I wish I would have touched on some of the descriptions of the videos more than I didn't at all. So if you can, look at the descriptions, because they do give like some nice little like behind the scenes looks at some of the points that you get from the videos. So
it doesn't give away like a bunch of pertinent plot information.
It just adds detail.
Yeah, it's some details to some of the lore. It's like interesting. Like corn. And that is maze. I don't really know what to say after
What's
that.
next?
So the next video that we see is a video by the name of Suez Canal crab.
Nice.
And
tell me more about this crustacean.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. When we were divvying up topics here, I saw that one and pretty much immediately put my name next to it because I want it.
I want crab.
Lorb and Saber.
And I am so very, very, very happy about my topic pick because this goes over. You guys might remember the Suez Canal incident with the Evergreen shipping cargo ship,
and the one that happened right after it, like 2 months later.
Yes. But this video is not about the Evergreen. It is about a ship called the Ever Given that also blocked the Suez Canal for a bit.
Very topical of Alex Kansas here.
Well, that's one of the things I'm noticing is he touches on all the fucking hot like world topics and gives these alternate universe explanations, which is fucking incredible. I love it. So basically we see that the Ever Given has blocked the Suez Canal. Now, in order to rectify this, President Hillary Clinton announces a nuclear solution.
She's gonna bomb?
They're gonna nuke the boat. Their solution is to fucking throw a nuke at it. They don't want to nuke the boat directly, which is what I thought at first while watching this, and I had to pause the video because I was laughing so hard. Like, wow, just go straight to fucking Plan X, I guess. Okay,
DEFCON 5. A boat stuck in a
it's a minute to midnight. Fucking bomb it.
We need this solved now.
Yeah. But no. So it was a nuclear solution, but they didn't bomb the boat. They bombed I think it's the Pacific side of the canal, and their fucking whole train of logic is that they set off a thermonuclear bomb that will create a bunch of waves that will knock the Suez or the Ever Given, loose from the Suez Canal. So they do this. They set off a nuke in the fucking Pacific Ocean, and the waves kind of ripple through the canal, and they dislodge the boat, which then leaves through a secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel.
It just kind of fucking
secret tunnel through the mountains.
Yeah, okay, cool.
No one knows where it went at first, and people keep asking questions about it. The government tried to keep it quiet for a bit, and then they just couldn't. And they fucking I'm sorry. They let loose that this boat is now a giant crab, and it has crawled its way onto land and then back out into sea. And if you watch this video, you're going to see a fucking sight that I never thought I would have to see in my life, and it is the Ever Given cargo shipping ship propped up on these spindly fucking legs, just kind of walking around in the ocean.
This is the strangest transformer to come out of Michael Bay in quite some time.
What would it be? It'd be no, not Optimus.
Unicrab instead of Unicron.
No, Crustacean Scream. No,
you're close.
Star Station.
Good.
Closer. But no, it turns out the fucking boat, it's a crab. And no one really knows what to do about it. The biggest problem to the government right now is that this crab cannot be destroyed without destroying the boat.
Optimus Crab.
And they can't have that. You can't destroy U.S. domestic products like they're being shipped here.
How'd they get
sale.
shit on it without noticing it was a crab?
Well, that's the thing. No one knows. It got to the Suez Canal. We bombed the ocean, and then the boat turned into a crab.
Isn't that how Godzilla was made?
I mean, maybe
possible.
It's very close to that movie. So you can't destroy this crab without destroying the boat and the contents of it, and that is going to cause a devastating effect to the U.S. economy, apparently. So they can't do that. So instead, they herd the fucking crab to Egypt.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Tempting it there.
The Lord is my shepherd, and my sheep is a crab.
I'm really not sure why they decided on Egypt, but it makes the story great. So they head off this fucking crab to Egypt, and it's in Cairo now, and it fucking walks up to shore. And then it cuts. This video cuts to some information about the Cairo Tower. And so basically what it says is Cairo Tower is a very, very good way to see the entire city of Cairo. It takes you way up in the air. You can look over the entire city, and it's gorgeous. So on April 16th, 700 tourists entered the Cairo Tower. This is about the time that the Ever Given Crab shows up to Cairo, Egypt. And as it's kind of walking along, seeing the sights, it trips and it falls very clumsily into the tower, killing 200 people and throwing 1,800 shipping containers off of the ship at the city. Just fucking annihilating the center of it, it took all the support structures out from this tower. And it was kind of like leaning precariously among some buildings. And eventually it collapsed. And it actually like dragged half of this crab ship underground. Upon doing that, the seal between the crab and the ship kind of like releases, and it releases thousands of gallons of seawater and human remains and crab remains into the streets of Cairo. And if this wasn't already fucking hilarious,
like these guys just got such a good meal out of this. Like there's some crab just...
King Crab can go fuck itself compared to this. Yeah. Like, seriously.
All I can hear is the Benny Hill music playing.
Oh, that music is about to get fucking cranked to 11 because the world governments all agree that this disaster cannot be cleaned up because the ground is just too slippery to stand on. And there have been so many deaths and injuries because people fall to the ground because they're slipping and sliding around all over these crab guts and people guts.
Are they slipping on the butter that they brought to this crab buffet that just came about?
That might be part of it. So one thing that's also made very apparent in this world are these devices called Twitter machines. And we might have seen what these look like throughout the course of the last episode, but basically they're Nokia-looking ass cell phones with like a cross as an antenna, and they are devoted strictly for an application with a little different-looking blue bird with the acronym TWTTR. Mm-hmm. And they don't tell you what it's actually called.
You want to know something fun? In every description, it says visit our Twitter account.
Yeah.
Spelled the same way.
Yep. So these are Twitter machines. There are no cell phones. There are Twitter machines, and that's how people connect in this world. So they start talking about this disaster on the Twitter machines, and you see a bunch of different texts going back and forth, or tweets getting sent out from different people talking about this disaster. And then this disaster site is cordoned off to where people can't get in. There are some journalists who risk their lives to basically get some footage of this disaster site, and you get to see some of it. There's a bunch of talk about what the fuck to do at this point, because, you know, a giant ship crab just demolished most of Cairo. And apparently the answer, according to America, is to dub April 19th as Reclaim Your Stuff from Egypt Day.
Oh my god.
Original.
I'm so sorry, but a ship crab, would it just be a crip? And he's just crip walking all over Cairo?
God damn it. Let's hope he does not face to face with the blood crab. But no, so April 19th now becomes Reclaim Your Stuff from Egypt Day because this ship was meant for American citizens. Like, this is meant for America. Everything on this ship was meant to come to this country, and clips are shown of what's contained in these cargo containers, and there's like valuables, there's supercars, there's like the whole shipment was worth like billions of dollars.
I imagine Cairo just became like the equivalent of a Walmart on Black Friday.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so honestly, once this happens, I think they said something like 12, or it's either 12 or 20,000. 12,000 or 20,000 Americans.
That's a big difference.
It's either 12 or 20,000. it's a lot of fucking Americans. They show up to Cairo to basically reclaim their stuff. They break down some barricades and they rush this crab, and they basically start this giant riot in Egypt, and they try to take everything they fucking can from the Ever Given.
Is the crab still alive or did it die? I know it's a crab.
Oh, I'm getting there.
Okay, good.
So right now it is assumed dead because the Cairo Tower just fell on it, and it's like this is like the War of the Ages. It's like Godzilla versus Mothra, but a Crip versus Egypt, I guess.
No, they're saying they had problems killing this thing. They just dropped a fucking building on it.
Or remember that nuke you fucking shot into the ocean?
Yeah, come on, President Clinton.
That went fucking well.
President Hillary Clinton. Come on
now. So the Americans show up and they break the barricade down and they rush in and they start taking everything they can. There's a lot of injuries take place because, again, it's so very slippery in there. You just can't keep your balance.
And there's no signs that say caution wet.
I wish I was being sarcastic about this. I'm not. This is like this was an overarching concern for everybody in this. Is like, oh, people keep falling over. And I'm watching this like I don't understand what exactly is happening here. But so a lot of people break some bones over it, but they still keep looting.
Is this what you hear?
Yes, a little cartoon just slipped on a banana peel. Damn it! So they're looting. The looting gets more aggressive because people start fighting over things that each of them want. Which, I mean, it makes sense. And then there was an event over a certain car where a group of people decided that, hey, this is ours, and then another group of people decided, hey, we found guns here.
So that car is
ours. Right. So people start killing each other now over just items, and they keep killing each other until one of the legs of this crab twitches. And you kind of get the sense that it might just be unconscious. It's not dead. So in the panic that ensues from this, everybody that was inside looting just fucking books it. And at this point, some very close perimeters were set up around this crab, and so nobody could get out. They were all trapped here, and they all just kept ramming up against this gate trying to get out because they thought they were going to die.
Damn, so they barricaded people inside the crab?
Yeah, it's a quarantine area that these people broke into, so they re-quarantined it.
Yeah, wow.
But again, it was so fucking slippery in there. So slippery.
Dang slippery.
Just everybody was sliding around, and they tried to push over these barricades, but again, it was so slippery.
All I can hear is SpongeBob's fucking squeaky boots just happening over and over.
Well, because it was so slippery, they just kept falling over. Everybody just kept falling over, trying to get out. And it kept happening and happening and happening. And it ended up causing most of the people inside to crush each other to death because they all fell on each other.
I just imagine people sliding into other people and the bowling ball effect, like sound when the bowling ball hits the pins happens.
Yes.
Have you ever seen that Japanese game show where they get real slippery and try to crawl up
the thing?
Yeah.
With like I have seen that.
That is what is happening right now.
I have not seen that.
You would love it.
Yeah, you would.
It looks very painful. So all of these Americans are slipping all over, just sliding and slipping and falling all over the place. They ended up crushing each other to death because everything is just so dang slippery. Of the 12,000 Americans that showed up, 944 survived.
Oh my god.
Of those 944, when this quarantine area is finally opened, 77 of them are found praying to the crypt. Is that what we're calling it now? The crypt?
I don't think
the Suez crypt.
The crab ship.
Yeah. The Suez Canal crab. They are just found praying to them, and my fucking cult senses went a tingling because this is exactly where a cult gets formed.
The cult of crab.
It is called the Church of the Ever Given, and after the gates are opened up to kind of assess the aftermath of all of this, all of the bodies that were slipping all over each other, they kind of got like compacted down almost as if the 12,000 minus 944 became one. They were amalgamated into like one fleshy body that... What the fuck was that?
Same, actually.
So these people became amalgamated, right? Because they crushed each other to death, and all these bodies became one. And that's kind of the end of the Suez Canal crab video. It's fucking bonkers. Like, it's just way out there.
Well, season 2, I feel, goes heavy into bonkers territory.
Oh, absolutely.
It really does, because the next video, I had the same thought process the damn near whole time I was watching it. And
oh, is this the one that's going to kind of leapfrog off of the Dean Democracy video?
Yes, it is.
Fuck yes. Let's fucking dump into Dean.
So instead of Dean Democracy, we move on to a video called Dean Disaster. What the fuck?
What happened,
What that mean?
What that is? God, you guys have got me saying it now.
What that is?
So,
Jesus.
Basically, Dean Disaster opens up with a man named Frank Reynolds telling everyone to be prepared.
It's Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
To be prepared for a glorious adventure on TV.
Yeah, no, it's Danny DeVito.
It's absolutely egg. Anyways, so
We have to be quiet, I forgot.
So in 1969, basically, Frank Reynolds is prepping the Americans for what we assume is going to be President James Dean making an announcement. So everybody tuned in just like they did to hear the original announcement. It was in fact not an announcement, but a hijacking of the announcement.
Ride the wave.
Ride the wave. So this is like seriously. I'm gonna try to like go through this quickly because it's just fucking crazy.
Okay.
Just the series of events that happens. Since I assume you guys have not seen this one.
I have not.
So every air raid siren in America. Well, actually, I don't think it's America, but basically all the air raid sirens. Actually, no, it is all of America.
This is a fucking roller coaster.
I meant to write that down and I totally forgot to. But basically, all the air raid sirens in America go off just during this announcement, but they go off like 10 times louder than normal. Okay,
that would suck because we have a siren right fucking down the street.
Yeah, so anyone within a 4-mile radius eardrums bursted.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So people start panicking, like mass panicking. And it's just terrible. People start driving their cars, trying to get away. And then for some reason, they all park their cars and just leave them on the highways. I don't know.
Okay.
But that's what ends up happening.
Okay.
So basically, President Dean mobilizes the National Guard to help turn off all the running parked cars because it's basically leaking carbon monoxide just everywhere. And like a bunch of people who like, so when the sirens went off, a bunch of people thought, nuclear war was about to happen. So they went into these bunkers.
Okay.
And a bunch of people in the bunkers started to die because all the carbon monoxide was basically like leaking into these bunkers and like it was a whole fucking mess.
Oh.
So apparently
this went south very fast.
South it went fast, yes.
I love our sentences tonight. They're so good.
I have to keep it up. So after he mobilizes the National Guard, he basically is like, all right, we need to turn these fucking sirens off. So
so people stop exploding their ears.
Yeah, exactly. So he sends a bunch of people to turn off all the sirens that they can. And he decides that he is going to go and turn one off himself.
Oh my, I think I saw a part of this. Yeah.
So he goes and turns off this one by himself, but let's paint the picture here. When he arrives to the siren, there's literally a mountain of dead bodies that lead up all the way to the speaker because all the technicians before him died trying to do this. Oh, somehow,
Jesus.
President Dean makes it all the way up and turns the siren off.
Well, yeah, he's motherfucking James Dean.
He's a rebel without a cause. Doug.
Literally a rebel without a cause.
It took 3 hours to deactivate all the sirens, and millions of people ended up with hearing loss. Millions.
Are they entitled to compensation?
You'll find out in just a moment.
Okay.
So, President Dean would issue an announcement, even though he was like deaf as shit now. Just absolutely deaf. Everyone's deaf. Basically, what they did was he spoke over a giant speaker system, and they filmed it and then added subtitles to it, so because no one heard it.
Okay. Right, because they're deaf.
Yeah, because basically everybody has hearing issues. So he makes this, public speech and basically comes out saying that the ADA is responsible for the hijacking of this, and the speaker.
Hey, just like the fucking hijacking in Dean Democracy, with the ADA showing some contempt towards their movie star president.
Exactly, and it's kind of funny because the video that plays when like the announcement is supposed to happen before the sirens go off is like the like weird paper cut version of James Dean walking around like in the devil fashion. And it's
gotcha.
It looks very, very odd. But yeah, so basically what happens is Dean says, okay, I'm going to now put all of these ADA members into these prisons, and all of these prisons are held at our national monuments.
Weird
indeed.
Guys, it's starting to come together.
It's all coming together.
It's doing it. Oh.
So, the people that are being held at these national monuments...
Bonesaw is ready! Sorry, go ahead.
Ham bone.
What?
Exactly.
Shit, sorry. We have to be quiet. I'm so sorry. Sorry, Kelly.
Kelly's asleep during this right now.
She's trying to be.
In the neighboring wall to our room.
Yeah.
So the people that are being held at these national monuments, they end up coming back like a brand new fucking person. Just like 100%. Just like a better version of themselves.
Where
like,
have we seen that before?
That's such a good way to describe them.
It's just like there's just massive change mentally and physically that happens to these people, and they come back just better people. So once these people start coming back from these fucking quote-unquote prisons, everyone is requesting that they go to these prisons. Like, even people that don't have to go to the prison.
This is like when homeless people commit crimes just so they have a bed to sleep in.
I mean,
it's sad, but like it happens.
Work smart, not hard.
I don't think that fucking mantra applies here, but fuck it.
So it goes how to fucking work around the shitty U.S. judicial system.
Oh, there's so many topics we could touch on this, but
let's fucking keep plowing forward.
So all these people want to go to these prisons because there's this radical change that happens to the people that go to them and then come back. And then President Dean is like, this would totally negate what we're doing here. This would make no sense. He's like, if we did that, the prisons would have no purpose. This would make no sense anymore. So he kind of tells
people
everyone,
want to go there.
Yeah, because he basically tells everyone, fuck off, stop, no,
go away.
And so we move forward a little bit, and we know that President James Dean had mega hearing loss.
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up basically getting this, like, I don't even know what to call it, like a pre-treatment for his hearing loss that cures his hearing.
So like a cochlear implant.
Yeah, so like right before he has this done, he goes and does another announcement, kind of in front of like the whole like judicial system and like the people, and his implant, his like pre-implant for this treatment malfunctions.
Oh no.
And he's just apparently like yelling into this microphone. And now keep in mind, not everyone has the hearing loss. So all these people that actually hear his statement feel like he's just like so dead pressed on this like treatment happening for the people that have
it added to his emotion.
It actually ends up helping out the situation. So they think that he's got this like very, very just like vigorous like want to help the people and get them their hearing back, that this like bill ends up getting passed for the people, and this treatment is now free to everyone in America. So everyone that had hearing loss, anyone that had these problems, are now going to get this like treatment for free.
That's socialism. We don't want it. That's almost communism. Fuck it.
Hey. This isn't Pootie, remember? This is Diluti.
Fair enough.
Let's keep it classy here.
Fair. I couldn't help myself.
So once this gets approved, they start treating everyone. They start putting this hearing aid into everyone. And they actually end up using surgical androids. And there's a really cool picture.
You just glazed over that fucking phrase. Surgical androids? What the fuck does that mean?
Well, he's describing it.
Yes. So there's this really cool picture of like what a surgical android is.
Okay.
And it's pretty much IG-88.
Oh.
Neat.
Nope. Nope. All sorts of nope.
So, yeah, they have these fucking androids putting these hearing plants into people. And super random, they gave Helen Keller her hearing back.
Oh, some more history altercations, or alternations, I guess.
Yep, and then this whole disaster ends up with America eradicating deafness because they take care of all the people who were affected by the air raid sirens going off, and then afterwards, anyone who was just deaf before gets a fucking hearing aid.
I mean, at that point, fucking why not?
Seriously, like, and they just... America eradicates deafness, and that's the fucking end of the fucking video.
What a story.
If I were a part of that PR team, I would make that slogan, America can hear. I promise. Or some shit like that.
America can hear and chooses not to.
That's perfect. Yes. Doug, would you like to run for president? Because I will be your campaign manager.
Sure.
Don't do that, Doug.
You should do that.
You don't want him.
I promise I won't smear your fucking name all over the internet.
You won't.
Thank you,
pap
fundraisers.
Smear my name everywhere.
Oh, I'll pap smear you. But
okay.
Thank you, fundraisers, for choosing to give your money and donate to Doug. Here is an hour of Metalocalypse.
Oh God!
Wait.
You're probably
what?
You're probably.
Hey, no.
Be quiet for a second.
Do you hear that, Mike?
Yes.
What the fuck is that noise?
What is...
Hey, it's your buddy Ripsaw. I just got done listening to the new episode. Oh my God, you're not gonna believe this. You should have told me this is what you were covering. My father used to have a timeshare down in the Flex Pit. No lie. It was this beautiful cabin right next to the mountain of Smegma, right off of Truffle Butter Street in Rick Santorum Way. Beautiful place. But, yeah, my father ended up getting in trouble with the IRS, and he lost everything, so it wasn't really in the family anymore by the time they shut the whole place down. Damn IRS. You know, I don't trust organizations with acronyms in their names. By the way, there's not anything you guys are keeping from me, is there? Oh, what am I saying? You guys are all right. Anyway, I appreciate the shout-out. I'm glad you enjoyed my messages. And, Mike, yeah, we should get together sometime. Just shoot me a text. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
And then you lost all the fundraising money because you're fucking stupid.
Well, that's what happens.
What a funny fucking joke, dude.
Thank you. It's the best. Anyway, so the next episode, and by episode I mean video, is called Starry Sphinx. I do want to add two things. One, Finley's here with us.
Yes,
now.
And he's very demanding.
Yes. Two, I forgot to mention in the Maze Movie Maker, at the end, it says that whole thing with going in the caves and everything was filmed by Maya and Nathaniel Arnoldson. I forgot to piece that in. That was totally my bad.
Arnoldsons.
The next episode, though, is called Starry Sphinx.
I'm very excited to hear this because I feel like I need to hear it in order to make sense of the videos I watched.
This episode is broken up into multiple videos and audio segments. Audio segments are voiced and narrated by Leonard W. Moreland, who I will say back in the first season, he has been in all of my videos. He is the former senior advisor. And he has been in every single one of my videos. He's been like the main voice that I have had in my stuff.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah. So all of the audio is from that guy. But in video 1, it is entitled TFMD on Mars, which TFMD stands for the True Force of Mass Destruction.
See, I thought it stood for
go ahead.
Too much fucking ducks.
You're already off because it's TFMD, so
too fucking much ducks. That's what I meant.
What we get here is footage from a Mars rover showing something way in the distance on Mars, kind of roaming the planet. You can't really see what it is quite yet, but it's something big. The first bit of audio we get is called the Egypt Evacuation. And it basically goes over how the Americans forced Egyptians to evacuate from their homes and their cities, even though the Egyptians say that their method has been working for thousands of years.
Do you think they were like, yo, fuck your Fourth Amendment?
Pretty much, yes. It doesn't go into any type of detail about what this method is or why they're evacuating or what Egypt has been doing for thousands of years. Just says that their method has been working for thousands of years. And it says that America's like, yep, we know that, but you got to try the American way. And that way is evacuation, baby.
Of course.
We cut to video 2, which is the True Force of Mass Destruction leaves Mars. And this is footage from orbit on Mars of something leaving the atmosphere of the red giant. You still can't really make out what it is.
Can I bring a quick connection in here?
Sure.
So there is an SCP that exists right around the fucking red spot on
the storm?
Yes, on Jupiter, and something from it is sent to Mars that is an unknown, unidentified object. I don't know if this has anything to do with that.
It doesn't.
Doesn't some things come from Jupiter? Never mind. I don't want to get off topic here.
Yeah,
great.
Fair.
So audio 2, it's just more stuff going on in Egypt. Voiced by the same guy. This is again by the Leonard W. Moreland. The pyramids are proven to be true force of mass destructions, and they are the single most dangerous thing to humanity. It's also stated that President Dean has classified humans as true forces of mass destruction because of climate change.
I'm so happy James Dean is president.
He's very progressive so far.
Very great president. Bravo.
Great.
Go drive some cars.
Videos 3 and 4 are of the true force of mass destruction entering Earth's atmosphere. And this is multiple shots from Earth's orbit of this weird thing just arriving on Earth.
It's the iris.
It's the iris. Audio 3.
Full circle.
Audio 3 is by that same guy, that same Leonard guy, and he's talking about how pharaohs had these guardians who used Giza glass to chop down growing trees. The whole goal, though, wasn't to necessarily chop down the tree because that was proven impossible until 1945.
Oh my god.
Really?
Yes.
I think I know what's coming
weird.
here. And
the goal was to prolong the growth of the trees until they could build giant towers that could contain said trees.
God, so many points being connected.
Videos 5 and 6 are about the true force mass destruction being attacked. And this is kind of like military footage that shows these blobs is the best thing I can explain them as because it's
the Smoo from fucking My Little Pony.
Yeah. Sure.
Are you a brony?
No, but
What the
it's
fuck is a smooth?
it's one of the villains I remember from my childhood. It's this gray, like, blobby mass that just drains the color out of the entirety of Ponyland.
Okay.
We chose to go the My Little Pony route and not the fucking Power Rangers route with the fucking grays.
The
putties?
The putties, yeah.
And they just run around going.
I mean, we even could have gone the mummy route with the goddamn scarab beetles, but no.
True.
I chose the
Very true.
Smooth from My Little Pony.
That checks
Anyway,
out.
it's
That
hard for
checks
me to
out.
say exactly what they are because you can't really tell. They just because the footage itself is like, it's like infrared, so you can't really get that much detail from it. But these blobs are falling from the sky, and I'm kind of assuming that they might be missiles or something because it looks like one of them might be exploding. Which would explain the title of the video, which is that these things are attacked. These might be missiles bombarding whatever this thing is.
Right.
The fourth bit of audio states that in 1945, America tried to dig up the pyramids, only to find out that they go down infinitely into the ground.
Whoa.
They keep trying to dig it up, and they
just more pyramid.
never reach an end.
That
Hey,
sounds
what's down
about
there? There's more pyramid down here?
Oh,
Well, what's up there? Well, there's also
There's
more
more
pyramid
pyramid.
up there. So how
they,
do we did pyramid?
they make a comment saying it's crazy how what we found is just the tip.
We're not mature enough,
No,
Mike.
God
I'm
damn
sorry.
That's okay. Video 7 shows that the true force of mass destruction's false children land.
False children.
And what we
land.
see here is we see a green light that is seen landing on top of the Sphinx, and it zooms out to see about 5 more green lights just surrounding the Sphinx. And there's this bright flash of light and this like explosion sound, and it just cuts away.
Do any of you know the Green Lantern oath, like by heart?
Nope.
No. Through darkest day and brightest night, beware my power, Green Lantern's light. That's all I remember.
That's enough because that's what this sounds like.
Video 8 is about the false children organize into the Starry Sphinx. We get this video of all these green lights. They become a constellation that is in the shape of a sphinx. The video 9, after that one, it shows, and it's titled, "The Starry Sphinx Distracts as Mothership Flees." So this we get is the Sphinx just up and just starts fucking moving.
Oh, shit.
And it's got this giant like bit underneath it. And it looks like a fucking Star Destroyer from Star Wars. And now that we see this, you can kind of make out that the object leaving Mars and entering Earth's atmosphere from the other videos is this Sphinx. Video 10 and 11, we see the pyramids. We see like pyramids rise up from the desert, and they just keep getting taller and taller, and they start to look like the Washington Monument. They're tall, skinny, and they're white. And
special tree.
The special tree. And there's 3 of them.
Title of your sex.
We then
Tall, skinny, and
tall,
white.
skinny, white. We then cut to a diagram, and it shows a sphinx's head, and it says sphinx head equals a sphinx, and a brick equals pyramids. And then we see this diagram of one tiny little sphinx head, and it's just surrounded by thousands of pyramids.
Holy
and then
fuck.
it just cuts away.
God damn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of
That's the end of Starry Sphinx. Very fucking weird, but again, if you go into the description, you see a statement from Maze, the corporation, and it says, "There are no extraterrestrials. Visit our Twitter account for more fun facts." Little corn emoji.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
Well, that leads directly into the next video.
I'm patting the dog.
That's fine. Pat the fuck away because he is seeking attention for sure. I mean, Doug's playing with his fucking snooter. Mike's patting his belly or beating him off. I don't know.
A little bit of both.
But no, so this Starry Sphinx video leads directly into the next one called Giza Guardian. Now, the first thing that you see confused the absolute shit out of me until I heard Mike talk about his video. The first literal 1 minute and 42 seconds of this video is these like green lights near a sphinx.
There it is.
Yep. Moving around, causing different shapes to happen, different arcs. And it's almost like they're dancing in a pattern. And it cuts to something that says Dr. Disturbing presents, which we haven't touched on that, but you are going to find that pretty much throughout a lot of these videos. Is Dr. Disturbing is he makes a couple of entrances. But we go to Dr. Disturbing presents the Giza Guardian. And it starts off talking about this guy named Flanders Petrie.
Stupid sexy Flanders.
And he's like on a mission to find this material known as Giza glass, which you just heard Mike talk about for a bit.
Sorry, I'm slapping dog. Keep going.
Has he completed yet?
No, not yet.
All right, keep going, I guess. So he searches for this Giza glass because he hears all about like the Starry Sphinx and like this material that it creates. This video goes over like how some of the Bedouins in the area are masters at finding this glass, and they alone kind of own it. And eventually, he kind of he leads an expedition to Egypt looking for the Giza glass, and it doesn't go as he planned. He does a bunch of calculations, and for one reason or another, he's able to predict where the next Giza glass is going to show up, and he cordons off like a whole platoon of British soldiers to go defend the place to make sure that he has first dibs. It happens just like he predicts. There's a whole bunch of Giza glass. They protect it, and as he goes to study it, he trips over like a rock and falls and gets decapitated by the Giza glass.
Oh. Way to get ahead of the situation, my guy.
I knew something was coming there. The weird part is though, so he gets decapitated, but he's not dead. Like he remains living as this fucking bodiless head who can kind of sort of make some vocal noises to let everyone know that I'm still alive, even though my head has been detached from my body.
Like a chicken.
And he survived headless, and his head begins like swelling and become discolored, and he starts talking in these weird tongues. And the video literally goes, but none of this matters. None of this is important.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it tracks for this fucking series. And then they move on to the glass that he found. And so the glass was cordoned off by the British Army and then dug up and shipped back to England. Well, when it arrived, it was broken as fuck and it was deemed worthless. And it was given to some American ambassadors, which was then later confiscated by President Rockefeller. All starting to tie together a little bit here.
He certainly does.
From here, they tried to apply this glass to like some kind of military application, whether it be rounds or something, and he just would not approve it. So instead, they formed a specialized unit of individuals who were authorized to wield katanas made of this Giza glass. And they were assigned to guard the Grand Canyon.
Oh, yeah.
And again, no explanation is given here. They just said it like, yeah, this makes sense. They're guarding the Grand Canyon. Why the fuck wouldn't they?
Of course, yeah.
So they're there. They're guarding it. We don't really know from what. But we do know that this guard had some victims. And again, why they were victims, I'm still very unclear about. But there were a bunch of victims. And what happened was, thank you, Finley. Basically, these swordsmen would cut off the heads of people trespassing. And when that happened, just like, fucking, what was his name? Flanders Petrie. They would decapitate these people, and they would continue living. Now, apparently, vinegar is the one thing that would kind of oppose the side effects of, being decapitated but still alive.
How's that working out?
I hate that.
So
That's the worst.
The victims of these guardians were given a lifetime supply of vinegar to combat the effects. Now, the effects of the vinegar would wear off over time just because they got used to them. So they also provided housing within the Grand Canyon where they could be safe, they could be secure, and they could be alone, which was important to them because, they don't have a body. So who the fuck would want to deal with that?
Where else have we seen headless folk?
I know.
Futurama.
I mean, yes.
In a canyon.
in a canyon, no less. And that's the big tie-in here is that this kind of
Canyon Crown.
Yes,
it was Canyon Crown.
Canyon Crown comes full fucking circle in Giza Guardian here. So these swordsmen guard the Grand Canyon. They cut people up as they see fit, but they kept living, so they were giving housing and vinegar, because what else do you need?
And vinegar, look at that. Whoa, it all comes full circle. Whoa.
And eventually, Project Giza, as it was known, this is, we're identifying this project that equipped these men with swords made of Giza glass that guarded the Grand Canyon. It was, Mike, you ready? Give it to me. Shut down in 1969.
Nice.
However, the sightings of these swordsmen continued, and then we get an interview with a woman named Louisa Crawford, who is the wife to Thomas Crawford, who is, if you guys remember from our last episode, was the one charged with making the Freedom Statue for the top of the Capitol building. So we get this whole interview with her, and it turns out that Thomas, the man who designed this, Freedom Statue, hated America. Absolutely fucking despised everything that it stood for. But he also discovered that the glass can keep body parts alive after cutting them off. So, after being charged with making this statue, he thought it would be a nice notion to have somebody living look over America and make sure that the freedoms are being protected adequately. So
we told you it all comes around eventually.
Do you guys remember the story we told last episode about Thomas and his daughter boarding a ship? So he cut himself up and he put himself inside the statue that he made. Now, the statue was being shipped to America for presentation when he found his daughter aboard the ship.
Nope.
And decided to incorporate her into the whole fucking ordeal. So he literally cut all of her skin off and put her inside the statue with him so the both of them could look over America and their freedoms. And it's just such a nice gesture.
Yeah, I actually didn't mention that part because it was so graphic. It literally went into the detail of him being like, yeah, when we went down in the canyon, we found a fucking skin suit on the ground.
Yep. That was his daughter's.
Yeah, it was.
They found Thomas's daughter's skin. So this statue now contains an amalgamation of this man and his daughter who are charged with watching over the freedoms of America. God, I love this country. After this is kind of divulged, a news agency is brought up, and the name itself isn't exactly specified, but the journalist is, and that name is Howard Melrose. And he discovered that all of this happened, and he tried to report on it, but before he could, the news agency that he was a part of disbanded. However, this news company had a secondary news source called the New Delaware Journal. Ring a bell, anybody?
Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
That's the George Washington.
Yes, and it is still operating. And they go on to cover... Oh, my God. Are you guys ready for this?
Nope.
Apparently, they're still alive and covering things today, but they were one of the ones that covered the January 6th storming of the Capitol by the ADA members claiming election fraud and some other things. Does this ring a fucking bell
Just
at
a
all?
smidge.
Just a bit. So while they were there, the Freedom Statue fell. Okay? When it did, it was very hurriedly taken up by some government officials, and it was taken directly to the Grand Canyon.
Man, this is all over the frickin' place.
Yeah.
Hey, remember that
Back
statue
to
you
the
guys were
Grand
talking
Canyon.
about?
Yeah.
That was in the Grand Canyon that fucked some people up? This is where it comes from. This is the Freedom Statue that's atop the Capitol building.
The one that the ADA shot down at the end of my fucking...
Yes.
Yep.
It is then taken to the Grand Canyon, where, again, you covered some sightings of it. What the fuck lives in the Grand Canyon that this thing needs to be there? What the fuck lives in the Grand Canyon that these fucking Giza glass swordsmen need to be protecting it?
You've never heard of the Can Granion that lives in the Grand Canyon?
So after the statue is taken, Melrose leaks a classified file, and I forget the actual designation of it. But because of it, he now lives, guess where? I know you can read it. It's in Egypt, and he is now exiled from the U.S. The file that he leaked includes a bunch of shit, and some of the more important stuff was this file's purpose was to designate basically a bunch of information about how to attract and extinguish the ADA members. On top of that, it shows the Liberty statue that we all saw, or we all heard about from earlier, with the fucking weird creature living in it. There's some decapitations that happen in front of it.
Oh, no.
And the very last clip that's shown is of one very specific person who gets decapitated. And her name...
Is it George Washington
No.
Carver?
Her name is Maya Arnoldson.
There it is.
Yep. The very last audio that you hear from this video is of her being decapitated, the body hitting the floor, some like yelling, blah, blah, blah. And her body was not actually publicly discovered until 2004, which is, again, remember, 1 year after the Washington Monument incident, where a bunch of people disappeared. 1 year later, the Rangers discover a body with their head still missing, which leads you to believe that her head is still alive somewhere. Probably in the Grand Canyon.
I would imagine so.
Yes. But that is the entirety of the video Giza Guardian. And
Good
it kind of
fucking God.
it gives a huge background on
It sure do.
the Giza glass that you were talking about and what
Yeah.
it's used for. And I hope the dots are starting to connect. I hope they are. But what do we got? What do we have next?
Fuck. Next up is a bit more of a somber one, I would say. It's called Fallen Father.
Okay.
It's in the same format as the Cannon Crown, where it's that like vacation, like people doing, it has like the happy music in the background, the cheery, peppy stuff, and then it says like, "Guess who's back and followed us home? It's Mr. Squirrel. He's horny."
What?
it says that in all caps. It's like, horny.
What the fuck?
And then it follows this squirrel around for a while, which is very funny. But then it says, "Forget about that.
That's a giant trope here.
Since you're gone, you'll never see this video, but I had a dream that you were still here, and you were about to leave the house. I know your health problems made your body a prison, and now you're free. But we miss you so much. I wish I hugged you more often. I love you, Dad. I hope you're happy wherever you are. It hurts so much to remember. The worst memories live at home with us." And while all this text is going on, it's like a guy, like, it's like the video is just up at some trees, and there's like a gray blob in the corner, and you can't really see what it is. It's kind of mist-like. And then the camera just kind of gets picked up and it moves and it goes into this house, and in the house is this orange tarp, and it just slowly gets darker and darker and darker until there's nothing. And then text comes up and just says, "I can't believe it's been 3 days." And it says Nathaniel Arnoldson, July 1961 to May 2021. So Nathaniel Arnoldson has died. Then it flashes one more time, and it says Eric Cassanis, July 1961 to May 2021. So it is assumed that the creator, Alex, is assumed that his father passed away.
And again, I know we said this last episode, but let's reiterate. The creator's name is Alex Cassanis.
Cassanis, yes.
Not Alex Kansas.
Yeah, and it seems like Alex is, I'm assuming, his father by the age.
It sounds about right, yeah.
Has passed, unfortunately, which would explain the name of the title, Fallen Father, as well as the death of Nathaniel Arnoldson, because he is the father in the last Canyon Crown episode as well.
Holy shit, yeah.
Yeah, so
my God.
Kind of upsetting. Really feel for the guy, especially because this is pretty damn recent stuff.
We have the fucking January 6th fucking riot in here. Like, yeah, it's all topical.
This happened very, very, like, recently. So, thoughts to Alex here. But that's all this video is.
For Alex.
Yeah, that's all this video is it's kind of a tribute to his father, and it kind of ties up an end with Nathaniel Arnoldson as well.
Damn.
Yeah. So now we're out of somber land.
What do we have next, then?
Sadly, what's next?
We're going to go into fucking genocide land here. You ready for this?
Almost always, Doug.
So this next video is called Rockefeller Revelation, and boy, this video was slightly confusing to watch, because basically what it is it's John D. Rockefeller talking, and then like these weird, like blueprinty, cartoony looking fucking...
I know this is difficult with Finley doing what he's doing.
I love you, Finley. Yeah, okay.
He's just looking for attention.
So, like I said, it's just kind of a confusing video, but it kind of ties a lot of things together here. So the first part of the video is John D. Rockefeller talking about how he helped make these German airships, and they were like basically his pride, like achievement.
Okay.
But he was a little concerned that because he was making these German airships in 1920, that if his name was plastered on the side of it, that might cause some problems.
Some issues?
So he told them to take them off of the machines. And this was pre-war, so he didn't know they were going to be used against Americans and Europeans at the time, but he was like, yo, take my name off them, please. And the Germans were like, yeah, sure, we'll take your name off them, it's fine. But after you hear him talk about this, it like shows the blueprints of these. They're basically Zeppelins, and you see this weird, like, it's very normal. It's like here's the front of the ship, here's the back of the ship, here's like where the people sit, and here's this and that. It's just very it's a ship.
Is the people, and outside is the steeple.
Yeah, exactly. And
there's a pickle.
It's very, very normal. Like, okay, you're right. That's a Zeppelin. I've seen that before. That sounds about right. But then it like goes to an interior shot.
Okay.
And the interior of the Zeppelin,
oh no,
doesn't have any writing or explanation. It just shows the inside of it.
Okay.
But it's still in the drawn form. So it pans out, you see the whole ship, and there's what looks like the outline of a face, and then just a giant blob that fills the entirety of the ship. And that's all that happens. But then they go back to Rockefeller talking. And he's talking about how he, built these anti-aircraft death rays. And boy howdy,
Perfect.
did the Germans love this.
Of course.
They were so generous, and he had so much Giza glass to just do all of this.
God, this falls right in line with the fucking Nazis and the arcane arts that they tried to master. Oh.
And basically, he was just like, man, those Germans were fucking generous. Like, they were willing to pay top dollar for these crowns.
Huh.
And it's funny because basically he ended up selling a lot of these crowns to the Germans.
Now, if you remembered back in Canyon Crown,
Do you remember?
the thing that you see in the videos is like a blurry gray thing hovering in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Wild, right?
Very wild. That being said,
I smell like vinegar.
we end up moving a few years later, and World War I happens.
Mm-hmm.
And these Zeppelins with their death rays start killing, thousands of Americans and Europeans. So he begins to worry that his days are numbered and that people are going to find out about his, dealings with Germany and that he's going to basically be assassinated. And he's not happy. He is not happy about this at all. So we cut from him talking about this to what seems like is not even, like, whatever we cut to is not a part of John Rockefeller's speech that he's giving about all this stuff, like, or his recollection, I guess you would call it, because we go into something called Operation Pyramid Plasma, and this is the part that kind of confuses me the most, I want to say.
Okay.
So what we see is a diagram of the Great Pyramid with men on the sides and one of these crowns at the top actually shooting down one of the pyramids.
Okay.
Or, I'm sorry, I said pyramid. One of the Zeppelins.
Gotcha.
The tail end of the Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Which, to me, does not quite correlate at all, I guess. Like, I don't know if he wants this, like, he wants to shoot down his own blimps.
His own blimps? Yeah.
Whatever, but basically, once we see this, we get a little more speech, just him talking more about how he's, like, afraid that he's going to be assassinated again and, like, all this shit, that he's, like, everybody knows what's happening now. Like, they know I'm a part of the German, like, I've been in, like, cahoots with the Germans, and we get these, like, steps to Operation Pyramid Plasma. And step one is men become microscopic.
What?
Yep. Just hear me out. Trust the process.
Okay.
The men then traverse the desert, figuring out what they are.
Again, what?
It's Moses.
Am I supposed to still trust?
Once this happens, the amalgamation to form one being happens. Men return home as one. Men execute counterattack.
What?
Spooky, scary werewolf bar mitzvah.
So
boy becomes man.
This
Man
video is a
becomes
lot
wolf.
longer than I am making it seem right now.
Yeah.
But basically, the next thing we see is May 23rd of 1937. Rockefeller enters a bunker and is never seen from again. So just on my own accord, I don't know if this is right or not, to be honest with you, because like I said, this one video actually confused the shit out of me.
Okay. I mean, it's very confusing.
But it almost seems like these microscopic men came back and, like, abducted fucking Rockefeller.
Aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
getting a little off the rails here.
Basically, many people claim that it was an abduction, and then the end of the video is like there's two photos that are unexplained or something like that. And
Okay.
you see one video of the Rockefeller Center with the first Christmas tree,
I see where this is going.
and you see him as like almost like this apparition in the background, but you have to zoom in to really see it. And then the other one is a picture of a farm that has the original like special tree in the background, but he's like almost like formed into a different tree.
Are you confused?
I'm a little confused, to be quite honest with you.
Is that the end of...
That is the end of Rockefeller Revelation.
Would you like me to tie pretty much everything that we've talked about together?
Yes, please.
I feel like this entire time, Doug has gotten shit where it's like... It's
the
like,
fuck?
Rockefeller came and talked to a clown, and the clown whipped out a tentacle and then sucked him into his bag, and then Jason's just like, do you want me to explain how that makes sense?
Like, that's legit what I'm about to do here.
I think this has happened like
seriously
2 or 3 times now.
So the very last video that is available on season 2 is named Washington Wonderland, and the star of this whole, I guess, episode or video is a woman by the name of Virginia Fate Arnoldson.
Look at that. Back with a vengeance.
Yep. Right the fuck back with it.
Virginia.
We've seen the fate of basically her whole family at this point.
Yep.
And it goes over her recollection of the Rockefeller tree tragedy.
Yep.
Now, do you guys remember her visiting the tree and wanting to, like, she was in awe of it, right? And she put the star on top and everything.
With her 10 friends.
Yes. Well, those 10 friends all came from an orphanage, and she was a part of an orphanage when she was very, very young, and she refused to go over the details of what happened there. But the one thing that we do know is that during her stay there, she was given a lobotomy.
Oh.
And after that was given, she was able to recollect the actual accounts of what happened when she visited the Rockefeller tree. And fucking it is bonkers, but it ties fucking everything together. This was my favorite video of the entire series just because, like I said, this ties everything together. Is it coherent? No. Does it make sense?
No.
A little bit.
Also no.
So they go over her stay with the orphanage, and she won't talk about it, and they go over that she got her first, I say first, and I mean it, her first lobotomy while there.
I'm a little upset that you didn't say and last at the end there. So
I'd be lying if that were the case. So when she goes to visit this tree, she felt something change within her. And you remember when she saw this forest of like all these trees, and then her memory kind of just goes, it's just done, and there's nothing. So this takes place directly after that moment, because this lobotomy, whatever it did, freed something up in her memory to be able to recollect everything that happened. So when she talked to the tree, it sent her to this forest of like spectral trees, like we were talking about in the last episode. And she kept walking among them, just kind of looking at them until she finally looked up and she saw the tops of the tree, of all the trees, and they seemed to basically touch like this platform of like dust, and at that platform was another tree, but backwards. So like the tips of the trees like grew together, and it went up to another platform on the underside where it had its roots, from which spawned another tree, another tree, another tree. It was just infinite trees up and down. And she thought this was pretty fucking weird, which, I mean, duh, it very much is. And then she starts seeing like these flashes of light all around her. And with these flashes of light come people. And there's almost like a stampede of people that come towards her. And most of them just flash the fuck out of existence until there's one man left. And this is emphasized, he has very tired and sad eyes, and almost like he's been going at something for far too long. And he basically takes her on this journey, and they both teleport out of this area to another area, and she keeps experiencing flashes of memory, kind of like she's at a memory where they're holding hands, like dancing, and then they switch, and they're both like sitting down and resting, and then they switch. to like some other activity they're doing, just over and over and over again. And at first, she's super excited about the whole thing, absolutely thrilled that she's having fun with this new man, who she names Everett, just because. Remember that name. It's very fucking important.
Everett.
Yes. So this is her new friend Everett in this spectral plane of never-ending trees. And they keep teleporting memory to memory to memory to memory over and over again. And she's happy at first. And then she sees that it keeps happening. So she gets angry. And eventually, she gets very sad and very tired. Much like Everett, who has been guiding her through all of these memories. And she says it feels like that she's been doing... It felt like 500 years had passed by the time they kind of escaped this loop of memories that they're experiencing. And they flash back to the very start in the forest of these trees that she saw. And then, eventually, she comes out of it to New York. And she wakes up on the ground with 18 other people around her. And she realizes this is not the New York she left. And she also realizes there's no Everett whatsoever. And so she goes and she tries to find some family or some kind of connection to where she is right now. Well, she finds out that her dad died and her mom is now xenophobic. And her parents, they just seem off. Just a little off. Almost like they're not her parents.
I guess
I would hope the dad would feel a little off. Oh, yeah.
Well, he's dead.
Yeah.
He dead.
So that's not the dad I remember.
My dad was alive. So to get some information, maybe some perspective on things, she visits the Rockefeller Center, which she had remembered going to before to visit this tree, putting a star atop it, etc. And while she's there, the tree is silent. And I say that most trees are silent, right?
Yeah, I don't really see them screaming in the forest. So.
Well, she approached
if a tree screams in a forest, does it make a noise?
And the only one around to hear it is a mime. Does it matter?
Does a bear shit?
Questions for later. No, so she revisits this tree at the Rockefeller Center. And at first, she feels nothing. And eventually, she starts to hear the tree speaking to her. And she asks the tree, I need to get back home. Can you help me? The tree basically says, yes, but only if you were to sacrifice a life for yours. And she goes, okay. And the tree says, come back in 3 years when you're ready. So she goes back out.
Where have we heard that 3-year thing before?
Oh.
From the story.
Thank you, Doug.
That goddamn Rockefeller said that before.
Yep, just like Rockefeller said. So she leaves. She goes about her business, just exploring this very strange version of New York that she has in front of her. Passes by the 3 years, goes back, and she walks up to the tree. And at first, she can't hear anything. And then eventually, she becomes accustomed to it, and the tree says, "Oh, hello, what's up?" And she goes, "I'd like to go back to my original world." And the tree says, "That's fine, but you need to sacrifice one life for yours. Come back in 3 years." So she goes about her business. She mulls around town, meeting, just passing the time. So she comes back in 3 years. Now, at first, she doesn't quite hear the tree. And eventually, she warms up to it. And the tree says, "Oh, hello." And she goes, "I would like to return home."
Tree's asada.
And the tree says, "That's fine. You can. You just have to, give one life for your own. Come back in 3 years." So she goes about her business. She mulls around town, bides time, comes back in 3 years. And at first, she can't quite hear the tree. And eventually she warms up to it. And the tree says, "Oh, hello." And she says, "Hello."
We've done this a couple times now.
You guys fucking get the pattern yet?
We've danced this.
Do you get the pattern?
Before. Yeah.
It's a fucking pattern that happens over and over again. But eventually, one of the times when she leaves the tree after saying, "Come back in 3 years."
Yeah, after the 9th time when she's 40 at this point.
It's so many times. And they literally, when they tell this story, they tell it just like I've been telling it. They don't skimp on the details saying, "Hey, this is a loop."
You're stuck in a time loop, bitch.
But eventually, she meets someone named Leonard, and they get to know each other.
Leonard, you say?
Yes.
Like the Leonard that's been narrating a bunch of my things.
Uh-huh. Are the pieces starting to connect a bit?
A little bit, yes.
So she meets a Leonard, and she can't help it, but she falls in love with him. And so for the next 3 years, they get to grow, like they grow together and they get to know each other. And eventually she becomes pregnant towards the end of these 3 years. The baby's not born yet, so she's pregnant, but she has to go visit the tree because the tree said 3 years. Before she goes, they both decide to name the baby Everett.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
So she shows up pregnant to the tree, and this time, it's different.
Tree's like, dude.
Yes.
You did it. You
The
brought
tree-
a sacrifice.
The tree says, you need to walk. You need to go somewhere. And you will know where. And she gets like this instinct in herself to walk to a location. And the location happens to be the Washington Monument.
Oh, flip.
Now, when she gets there, she walks up to the side of it. The side opens up. She rides the elevator to the top. A blast of sound happens. She is paralyzed. And the bottom of the elevator drops out, plunging her fucking hundreds of feet to assumedly her death, right?
Mm-hmm.
As this happens, she kind of like is in shock and she can't move. And eventually, like, she can. And she notices that around her are 18 other people that are also in similar predicaments. And eventually she wakes up and she realizes that all 19 of them
Mm-hmm.
are sitting right outside the Washington Monument in 2003.
Look at that.
Do you remember how many people went missing?
It was 20.
Do you know who the last person that was missing is?
It's Everett.
Because she was pregnant. Everett was taken from her to bring everybody back, and he is now stuck in this fucking weird-ass plane of infinite trees guiding people through it, and she didn't even know.
Wow. Her baby done did the thing.
So we find out that Everett's number 20. We find out what happened all throughout Season 1. We
Yep.
find out that everything that happened in Season 2 was leading up to this moment. 19 of these people were fucking abducted by a monument and then returned after going to some fucking prime plane, giving, I don't know, fucking ethereal birth to some fucking entity that lives between these planes now that guides people back and forth, and didn't even know that that was technically her son. And that is how this season ends.
That's how Monument Mythos ends so far.
I
Yeah.
need more.
It's so fucking good.
I need more. I'm gonna go watch all the videos.
Do you see why I was fucking squirming when you guys were saying shit at this point?
Oh, absolutely.
for me-
you got the fucking.
I got the fucking
dead ass
capstone.
end, yeah.
Yes.
This reminded me a lot of Ben Drowned. And the
Yeah.
reason I say that is because it starts off kind of innocent, like Ben Drowned does, a very basic story of, oh, there's monsters in these monuments. That's fucking wild. Just like Ben Drowned just started off as, oh, weird, there's like a ghost in your computer. And then it just goes off the fucking rails.
Off the fucking deep end.
With Ben Drowned, you get like the cult with Moon Children.
The Moon Children.
And with this, you get a fucking plane full of weird spirit trees and shit. And
Yeah.
it very much gave me that impression of just, it starts off like baiting you in as like, oh yeah, this is be just fun, just a
Just
fun
for
little
fun.
story, and then there's so fucking much more.
And
Yeah, it's really deep.
honest, like, I could not have hoped for a better ending to all of this because it's just so conclusive and concise, and it ties up all of the loose ends that you fucking might like think exist. It's so good. So, what's his name? Alex Kasanis?
Kasanis or Kansas, you could just Alex Kansas.
Alex
is the YouTube
Kasanis,
page.
thank you for Alex Kansas.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. You are a masterful plot writer, and if you are ever in the game of creating ARGs, fucking hit us up. We want to be a part of it because holy shit was this cool.
And now that we're done info dumping on our listeners,
Whew.
these were heavy 2 episodes right here.
But
And-
I'm so
Yeah.
fucking wired about them. I
Well,
love them.
we'll wait for the Corner Folk series
Oh,
to take
yeah.
off, 'cause that's
Well,
another one.
That's happening in
The
about
corner
10
folk.
minutes.
Yeah, check out our bonus after this
Yes.
after this, it came out a week ago to you people.
Maybe. Yeah.
Anyway,
No, it did.
linktree.com/deludipod. You can find links to everything, our socials, our merch, all that jazz. You can go to YouTube. Don't look under the internet on YouTube. Our shit's bussin'. We're getting a lot of views on like Serpo and shit, and Flesh Pit is fucking going insane.
Keep it the fuck up, guys. We love it.
Our merch is in our link tree. You can also find our merch link in all of our descriptions. Patreon.com/deludipod. If you want to chuck in a couple bucks there, we would appreciate it.
Also, if you want 6 extra episodes per month.
That too. And then buymeacoffee.com/deludipod. So you can chip in there to buy us a coffee, but let's be serious, you'll be buying us some booze.
Yeah.
That's about all I got. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Daddy needs a nap.
Yeah.
And if you see a statue moving, it's probably got a tree in it, so get the fuck away from it.
Don't go near the Washington Monument at all. Be very paranoid of the Washington Monument, please. But holy shit, I fucking loved this whole experience.
Shout out to one of our patrons, by the way, Michael Philly.
Yeah.
He's a cool boy.
Very much so.
Just wanted to throw that out there. You're a cool dude.
Mike wants to pet you.
Yeah, you're a cool man. Yeah.
In ways that you could never imagine.
Very goodest boy. Thank you for your support.
All right, well, boys.
Shit, guys. Yeah, I think that's about it for fucking Alex, Kansas.
Yeah, and then here is one other normal voicemail, right, Jason?
I'm sure it'll happen.
A normal.
Because I will absolutely listen to this whole episode while I'm editing and not just skip around like a lazy piece of shit.
Voicemail. A normal voicemail.
Yes. Male voice here.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Peens.
Hi, this is Matt Crawford. Listen, I got my cell phone bill emailed to me, and I noticed that there were some text messages to this number that I sent earlier this week, but I don't remember sending. And I just wanted to say, I'm on to you. Listen, I don't know who you are, and I might be going crazy, but I know whoever you are, you have something to do with what's been going on here lately.